I'm sorry, but we can't deploy tonight. You've got weather moving in, so you'll need to hunker down. We will try again in the morning. Good luck.
That's a copy. We'll hunker down and we'll talk again at 6 a.m. You, start gathering firewood. You, I need you to get him a nice pallet, bunch of boughs to get up off the ground. I'll start a shelter right over here, and then we'll go from there. Most backcountry emergencies don't become life-threatening in the first hour. They become life-threatening overnight, not because of chaos, but because of slow mental and physical failures that happen over a period of time. If the first 3 minutes are about control, and the first 10 are about judgment, and the first hour is about systems, overnight is about discipline under fatigue. This is where competent, experienced people start making quiet little mistakes. Not from bleeding, not from panic, but from erosion. The wilderness doesn't chase you, it waits. And once it's dark, the environment begins to compound. And if you're in the field after dark, the emergency starts shifting. Most overnights don't begin as overnights. It kind of slowly evolves into them. A decision delayed by 20 minutes, a pace that was actually set too fast or being too optimistic, a route correction that took longer than anticipated, or a minor injury that just reduced speed enough to miss that daylight window. Overnight isn't caused by a traumatic or dramatic event. It can even be caused by cumulative miscalculation. It's a pattern that we recognize, and we'll cover that separately. But for now, understand this. If you're out after dark, you're now not solving a problem. You're managing the decline of the decisions of the group, your patient, and even yourself. All right, here's the smalls for the fire, or at least some of them. All right, bud, get some rest. Deal with everything else in the morning. Between hours 1 and 3, temperature starts dropping a lot faster than people predict. Even in mild conditions, and even in the summer, wet fabric pulls heat from the body continuously, and wind accelerates that loss. But it's inactivity that lowers the production of any heat in your body. Pain increases the stress response, and the stress burns calories faster than you can imagine. Energy continues to be finite, and this is where optimism becomes dangerous. We're so close. It's manageable. We'll just keep moving as opposed to hunkering down. Movement without insulation accelerates heat loss. You need to shelter before you go any distance, and you need to insulate before you keep moving forward. Because once core temperature drops, cognitive function drops with it. Cold brains rationalize bad decisions and actually sound logical while doing it. How you doing? Between hours 3 and 6, there's a quiet deterioration of what's going on. Shivering can intensify. Shivering is not weakness. It's actually the body fighting to survive, but it burns a lot of calories. Fatigue deepens, dexterity declines, and fine motor skills go to crap. Small injuries start feeling more significant. Where they poked themselves with a rose thorn, a branch, skint their knee. This now causes morale to start shifting. This is where leaders either stabilize the system or unintentionally destabilize it. They push forward without calories, hydration, or insulation. The group and patient dynamics start shifting and slowly breaking apart. This is mandatory reassessment time. Level of consciousness, rate of breathing, speech clarity, coordination, shivering intensity, and even skin tone. Not just of your patient, but also of your group, and check yourself. Because if it's just me out here with my patient, it's a different ballgame. And if monitoring stops, deterioration is easy to miss, especially at nighttime. Between hours 6 and 10, there's a psychological impact. Darkness changes how people think, not just what they see or what they hear, but how they actually process it. What am I actually seeing? Is that a... No, maybe not. Visual reference starts disappearing because you can't judge distance accurately and you can't determine direction easily. The tree line you set as a marker isn't there anymore, or is it? How close is it? You're not getting that constant visual feedback that you depend upon when you're walking during the day. The uncertainty starts building quietly, and at the same time, fatigue starts setting in. Calories start getting lower, body temperature starts dropping, because this all started as a day hike, and all of that affects cognition. This is where the mind starts trying to simplify the problems that are going on. People stop thinking in systems and start thinking with impulses. Let's just move. Let's just go. It's not that far. Come, let's just do something. These decisions feel urgent and they actually feel correct, but it's usually driven by discomfort versus strategy. This is also where the group dynamic starts to shift. People start second guessing the plan. They start losing confidence in the leader. Someone withdraws or mentally shuts down, or both. You may not notice it immediately. It shows up as tone changes. People start shutting down, getting quieter, not responding, not communicating, pouting, just curling up and not doing a thing. More hesitation, or the opposite, over-talking, over-directing, and trying to force control. Both are signs that the system is destabilizing, because psychological stability is what holds systems together overnight. Once that slips, decision quality follows, and poor decisions at night compound way faster. A wrong move in the daylight costs time, but a wrong move at night costs energy, time, heat, and orientation. And that's how small problems become bigger ones. Not instantly, gradually, over time. This is why leadership matters most here. Calm, predictable plans and systems. Clear check-ins, simple instructions, and consistent tones. Don't be aggressive, but be firm. Because people don't need just a plan at night, they need stability. And if the group loses psychological stability, the environment starts making the decisions for you. Between hours 10 and 14 is a dangerous quiet. The body may appear stable, but subtle signs matter now. Those subtle signs could be increasing confusion, delayed responses, slurred speech, clumsiness, or even shivering that's now stopped. And when shivering stops in a cold environment, this is not improvement. This can indicate that the body has lost its ability to generate heat. This is a red flag. Hydration is already critical, but now it's worse. Cold suppresses thirst, and people forget to drink. Dehydration thickens blood, circulation decreases. This worsens fatigue and reduces cognitive clarity. If rescue has been activated, teams may be mobilizing now. And ground teams move a lot slower and cautiously. You are still the system. And all systems fail when monitoring stops. Reassess your patient every 5 minutes, especially if it was a traumatic injury. Reassess yourself and your people every 15 to 30. Not continually, not frantically, but very deliberately. The pattern that we see is overnight emergencies rarely explode. They erode due to exposure, energy depletion, cognitive decline, and emotional instability. Things are layered, one decision at a time. Because as I've said, the wilderness doesn't need drama to overpower you. It just needs time. Control your shelter early, preserve energy aggressively, reassess consistently, and make sure you stabilize your tone. If you maintain structure, the trajectory stabilizes. But if structure breaks down, attrition accelerates quietly. And here's where the shift happens. The first 3 minutes tested reaction. The first 10 minutes tested judgment. First 60 minutes tested your systems management. Overnight, test discipline under depletion. It's the discipline to stop moving forward even though it feels urgent. It's the discipline to insulate even when it feels premature. It's the discipline to monitor even when you want to sleep. It's the discipline to maintain a calm tone even when morale fades. This type of overnight survival is not about toughness. It's about structured decision making while your body and your mind are degrading. The first night doesn't reward bravery. It rewards restraint. And the wilderness is not dramatic. It's persistent. And persistence without structure wins.